Six Nations round 4, folks. Ireland and France. 42-27. What a French second half. Goodness gracious me. This game was 6 points to 8 at half time. Ireland would have been ruining the fact that the first half was a little bit lacking in terms of their conversion on opportunities. Big defensive shift from the French at the start. Ireland had all the ball, but the game was tight, and then the French in the second half just go absolutely gangbusters despite Dupont going off injured, despite one of their backs going off injured and only having the one back on the bench who was already on the field. Goodness gracious me, France absolutely in the driver's seat for the Six Nations title with one round to play. Still nothing decided yet, but wow. That was quite a performance from the French. We saw them take out, I guess, the frustration of that England game out on the Italians in the previous round, but I didn't see 42-27 coming. There was obviously a bit more frustration to be unleashed. We'll go through some of the key events and the stats of the match, and you guys can let us know your thoughts on how things went. Be honest, did you see that scoreline coming? I know Irish fans were kind of nervous about this one, but not this scoreline. Not a bonus point win for the French, surely. Unbelievable. France conceded some penalties early, to be fair. They were under the pump. They were having to make a lot of tackles. Ireland initially opt for touch. They go for a maul, line out, advantage, tap it. Eventually, the Irish guys get held up. So it's a good kind of tick mark for the French defence to hold out early, but the Irish just keep up the relentless phases. Eventually, the French guys win a penalty at the breakdown. Prendergast on 10 minutes has his first chance to actually get some reward for all the pressure the Irish guys are having when he has a shot at goal. It's a pretty kickable one, but he hits the post. Maybe a little bit of pressure with that one, so still nil all, no points scored. And then Ireland, another 13 phases. France go offside. France may be a little bit lucky not to get at least a warning for a yellow card because they were conceding a lot of penalties early on. And it looked like Dupont had potentially scored a try length of the field after a mishandled ball from Ireland. But they find that there was a French hand or two in there knocking the thing on, so it goes back. But maybe that was a little bit ominous of what France could do if you gave them any chance in this game. They were ready to hit from absolutely anywhere. As we hit the 20-minute mark, it was still scoreless, kind of unbelievably, because we've had, as I said, penalty hit the post, held up. We've had a try chalked off by the TMO for a knock-on. And when France did have the limited ball they had, like Caelan Doris was just winning turnovers at the start of the match. But it starts to go wrong a little bit for Ireland, I guess, when Joe McCarthy gets yellow carded for a pretty silly pull on Thomas Ramos as the French guys are kind of going down the left wing. Ramos is running a support line as Bielle-Biarrey is going down. McCarthy just gives him enough of a tug on the shoulder to get himself carded. I think it's a fair call. 15v14, what can France do? Well, they score the first try of the match. They haven't had that much ball, but Bielle-Biarrey, he ends up getting man of the match. He ends up getting the first try. Line out, not contested. Maul goes forward. They get advantage. Dupont to Bielle-Biarrey out on the left wing. Try time, misconversion, but it is 5 points to 0 to the French. Despite having had such little ball, they've got the stat which counts, which is points on the board. And then France just, is it confidence or is it crazy? It's a bit of both. The game is still 5-0. It's very close, but from the restart, Ramos gets smashed. He offloads it from the grass, and then Bielle-Biarrey does a in-22 crossfield kick pass before they can exit. It's a bit of crazy, it's a bit of confident, but it's French rugby. They get the exit at the end, but then they get a bit of bad news of their own when Dupont, he goes off. If there's one player, if you're France, you probably don't want to go off, it's Antoine Dupont, but he's the only back on the field that has a genuine one-for-one replacement. Luku has to come on, it's a leg injury. He gets injured Just seemingly at a breakdown clean-out. I don't think there's anything malicious about it. I think it's just a rugby incident. Both of the captains were trying to have a long chat with Angus Gardner, the ref, about many things, but I think with this incident, they basically get told it's just a rugby one. Sometimes guys get injured, so Luku has to come on, and there is no more backs on the bench for the French after only 28 minutes. Boudillon has a tackle off the ball, which sees France concede a penalty. This time, Prendergast nails the resulting shot at goal, so we got a 5-3 scoreline. But Ireland, a bit frustrating. I do think Simon Easterby will be really disappointed with this. Like, just a casual, like, too lazy blocking line. I think it was Porter on Pinot from the restart means they concede a penalty immediately, which Ramos happily slots. So the 3 points Ireland have worked so hard to get immediately gets erased off the board. They do keep on with the kind of high balls to pepper the French backfield when they do get a bit of possession. I should have mentioned James Lowe didn't actually make the matchday squad. They missed his long-range boot at times, although Osborne's boot was not bad. But he went off apparently injured in the warm-up, so he didn't even make the starting of the match. But they did pepper the French backfield a wee bit. Some of them, like Nash, caught an early one, which was pleasing, but some of them were a bit scrappy, and some of them like a bit too deep. One of them from Prendergast was just too deep before halftime. Easy catch for the French backfield, but Prendergast did put in a really nice 50-meter, like, confidence-boosting long-range penalty right before halftime. Hell of a nudge to make it 8 points to 6 at halftime. Like, 8 points to 6 is a proper arm wrestle test match. Ireland-France at Dublin. Like, that's what it's supposed to be. France have only had 40% possession and only 42% territory, but they are in the lead. Ireland, as I said, I think will rue the missed chances, but France have had to make 104 tackles compared to Ireland's 40. So you feel like as the game goes on, the French stamina is going to be tested because they've been doing a lot of work, but they are tackling at 92%, which is a hell of a performance. Ireland is at 82, which is not as flash. Like 92 is proper class. But that being said, clean breaks is 3-2 to the French. So they've had a little bit more doing with a little bit less, perhaps hence their lead. Ireland, though, they start the second half the same way they started the first, with the main difference being they actually scored a bloody try. They had the possession, they had the territory. They get the line out going, the maul, and then that man Sheehan, he is able to kind of peel off and go over for a try in the corner, and it is a great conversion, 13 points to 8. Ireland are in the lead at the start of the second half, and I mean, given all the ball they've had, it's probably deserved. You know, like they've finally broken the French defence. You're thinking maybe this is where, you know, the French, all those tackles they were having to make in the first half, maybe it's already starting to take a toll. But again, with the restart, Gibson-Park, he puts the kick out on the full, which gives France a chance down the Irish end. And if there's one thing France showed in this game is you can't give them anything because they are absolutely deadly on attack. Line out gets going, they get the maul, advantage. Luku with the wee snipe, and then Boudillon with the finish. It is try time, and it gets worse for Ireland because Nash in the build-up head v head against Barassi. It's too upright for ref Angus Gardner, so he gets shown a yellow card. To be fair, they did go back and check the Boudillon try in the build-up because Flamand took out Peter O'Mahony, but Angus Gardner says there was no issue with it. I thought that one was a bit of a weird call, because I didn't think you could just take a dude out from the line that far away from the ruck. But hey, what do I know? I don't think it makes a difference in this game, but it was certainly a key moment in the game because it does change the scoreline from being an Irish lead to a French one. 15 points to 13, France are in front. And then it's a quick-fire double, man. That man, Bielle-Biarrey, is just unbelievable. We've seen him, we talked about it in the build-up. Like, what do you do when this guy grubbers it through? You just... If there's no one there, he's probably going to be the first man to the ball, and he is. It's turnover ball. Before the Irish guys can fully set, Bielle-Biarrey with a grubber. Him and Luku are both chasing up, but Bielle-Biarrey gets there first. He gets the grounding, 22-13. Suddenly, things are starting to open up for France, and then Ramos slots a penalty to continue the pressure. 25-13. It's a huge yellow card period for the French. They really made the best of this kind of man advantage. And then genuinely massive pressure from France. They were kind of doing to Ireland what Ireland usually does to other teams, with just that kind of relentless pressure. Giroux is able to power almost under Tadhg Beirne to the try line. Not many guys get past Tadhg Beirne, but Giroux did it. Remember, he was playing on the bloody back line half the time because they didn't have a replacement for Barassi after he'd gone off for that head knock. So they got no Dupont, they got an extra forward in the back line, and yet they're still doing this. 32 points to 13. Ireland are having to push things now to chase the game. They're making some errors, kick out on the full, knock-ons, and then it gets worse because Doris has to go off for an HIA. 66 minutes, Ireland concede another penalty. Ramos slots it. The French contingent in the crowd is getting really loud. It's 34-13. It's looking pretty much like game over. There's still a little bit of a door open for the Irish, though. Boudillon gets a penalty away for a deliberate knock-on. The assistant ref wanted it to be a yellow card, but Angus Gardner shuts him down, says it's a penalty only because there's no overlap. And then Conor Murray gets held up after an Irish maul. So that's a chance that it needed to be, that they needed to score that one. I mean, even if they'd scored it, it might have been a bit too little too late. But given that Ireland did score a couple of late tries, maybe, I don't know, who knows. But the fact that he gets held up means, France defence hold on. Kroos also gets yellow carded for a infringement close to the line, which means it's another kind of chance for Ireland to just get some points back, but no, because Ramos intercepts a Prendergast pass, gets it to the pace man Pinot, who's able to go length of the field. It's icing on the cake, 42-13. It's looking like it could potentially go kind of Twickenham from a couple of years ago, where France put England to the sword, but for Ireland, they do get a couple of late consolation tries. Maybe it's a bit of France taking the foot off the gas. Maybe it is all those tackles catching up with them, but yeah, Healy gets one in his final game at the Aviva. It is 42 points to 20, and then Conan gets the third try for Ireland, basically on full time, 42-27. So it's better for the points difference, but not enough for a kind of 4-try bonus point for the Irish lads. So wow, quite the second half shift from the French. They are such a dangerous team. It really makes you wonder what they could have done at Twickenham a few weeks ago if they just stopped dropping the bloody ball. Because I said this is without Dupont for half the game. And with the back line kind of getting out of sync with Barassi going off. Away from home. Possession finishes 58-42 to Ireland. Territory 53-47 to Ireland. But clean breaks 6-3 to France. Dangerous on the attack. Turnovers won 8-4 to France. And the tackle percentage for France finishes at 90%, which is genuinely proper class. They made 196 tackles to Ireland's 98. Ireland's tackle percentage finished at 84, which is a little bit better than it was at halftime. And 84 is fine, but it's not 90%. Penalty count was 13-6, so France got pinged a few times, but still managed to make the most of the ball they had. Boudillon finishes with 46 metres. He was busy around the park. Kroos makes 17 tackles out of 18, wins 3 turnovers as well. Pinot beats 3 defenders. Keenan was sharp at the back, especially in the first half, looking elusive on the ball carry. 100 metres from him, beats 3 defenders. Doris was winning the turnovers, but ultimately it is quite the French performance. Now remember, the final round, Ireland have got Italy away, and one would back Ireland to get a good result there. And France have got Scotland at home. Scotland, you never know. Scotland could be the kind of kingmaker in this final week. We will kind of have to wait and see what goes on there. But that was the game. 42 points to 27. You guys let us know your thoughts on it. For a game that I got up at kind of 3 odd o'clock in the morning to watch. It proved to be a proper banger, real game of two halves. Commiserations to Irish fans. I feel bad for the guys because people were telling me in the comments Irish legends tend to not get the fairy tale finish, like O'Mahony and Healy and Murray for this one, their last game at the Aviva for Ireland. They don't get the fairy tale, but for France, undeniable. What a performance. They are so hungry. We will see how things go with 1 week to go. I'm off to watch the Welsh take on the Scots. You guys let us know your thoughts on the game, and I will talk to you guys again soon. See you later.